Good American Family ending explained. The trial outcome and how old Natalia Grace really is. Natalia Grace's Imogen Faith Reed controversial legal cases came to a close in Good American Family, but while the court settled many arguments, there are still many lingering questions about the true crime series. Though Good American Family is based on a true story, it has been telling that story from two conflicting points of view, from Natalia Grace's side and from Christine, Ellen Pompeo, and Michael Barnett's, Mark Duplass, side. In the finale, however, those two conflicting accounts merged into one final court case as the cast of Good American Family assembled for Michael's criminal neglect charges. The finale of Good American Family saw Natalia Grace and Cynthia Mann's, Christine Hendricks, take on the Barnetts over a decade after she lived with them. All of her alleged sociopathic tendencies and their allegedly abusive behavior came rushing back, and the courts were left to determine the truth. Except, that's not what happened. The courts, through a divisive decision, seemingly obscured the truth of Natalia Grace's age and Christine and Michael's crimes. But how much of Good American Family was accurate? And what does the show really mean? Unfortunately for Natalia Grace, Michael's criminal trial was almost decided before it began. After Terrence Kennard, Derek Webster petitioned, the judge decided to ban any mention of Natalia Grace's age in the following trial. The judge made that ruling because, in 2017, when Natalia and the Mann's family lost their custody hearing, the prosecution failed to appeal the case and tried to change Natalia's age again. The judge saw that as proof that it wasn't important. Natalia was treated as an adult, and the 4 charges of child neglect and abuse were dropped. Being treated as an adult was absolutely detrimental to Natalia Grace's case. The prosecution couldn't make any mention of her being a child. Every witness who referred to her as a child was stricken from the record, and the statute of limitations for adults precluded anything that the Barnetts did prior to 2014 from being litigated. Because of the judge's ruling about Natalia Grace's age, Michael Barnett, and by extension, Christine, walked free. Detective Drysdale, Dula Hill, aptly called it a miscarriage of justice. One of the biggest effects of the judge's ruling on Natalia Grace's age pertained to the Facebook Messenger texts Michael and Christine sent to one another about her. In the messages, both Christine and Michael openly spoke about abusing Natalia, that they knew she was a child, and even called her slurs and other insults. They would have been incredibly damning if they were entered into the record, but because Natalia Grace was considered an adult for the trial, the Facebook Messenger texts were protected by spousal privilege. Spousal privilege, in part, protects a married couple's communications from being used against them in a court of law. Normally, Christine and Michael's texts would never have been admissible in the neglect case. It was only because the prosecution was leveling charges that claimed Natalia Grace was a child that they were able to get them at all. Spousal privilege doesn't apply to cases of child abuse, and if it hadn't been for the judge's ruling, Natalia would have won in Good American Family. That didn't happen, however, and Natalia was treated as an adult by the court, taking away the prosecution's ability to use the texts as evidence. One of the more dramatic moments of Good American Family's finale came when Natalia Grace confronted Michael again after the trial. It was a powerful moment where Michael was forced to face the mistakes he made and the harm he caused to Natalia, but it wasn't clear if that actually happened or if it was part of Good American Family's dramatization. Michael and Natalia Grace did speak again after the trial, but Good American Family changed some key details of their conversation. In real life, Michael publicly apologized to Natalia in 2024, and Christine wasn't present, via The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. After 8 episodes, several conflicting accounts and accusations, and plenty of drama, Good American Family didn't actually solve the question of Natalia Grace's real age. There is, however, a good reason for that. No one knows definitively how old Natalia Grace is. There are so many lies, allegations, and conflicting legal documents that support her birth year being either 1989 or 2003 that it's impossible to tell which one is real. Good American Family implies that Natalia Grace was born in 2003, but in real life, it comes down to who you choose to believe.